Hey guys, Squatch Reloading here. Today we're going to talk about decapping pistol brass. Now normally in the past what I've done is I decapped while I was sizing, whether it be on one of my progressive units over here or on my single stage if I was working up a load. So recently I've got into the decapping prior to cleaning and the benefits of having clean primer pockets and all that. Well, we all know that's not necessary when it comes to pistol cartridges. The reason I got this unit is my kids have most recently they've gotten curious about reloading. So I thought, what a great way to introduce my children into reloading, doing decapping. It's a very simple process, and with the Universal Decapping Die, it does a great job of getting the primers out, and it's something that can occupy their time, and also they can absorb some of the other things that I'm doing down here. So when I set up to do a big reloading session, I like to bring one of my children down here and let them decap so they feel like they're part of the process. All the while they're learning terms and they're learning everything, and there's nothing more important than, you know, when a child is curious, to get them involved. So I thought it'd be a good video to show the Lee Precision Decapping Die, because it's one of probably the most economical decapping dies, universal decapping dies that there is on the market, and it works fantastic. So we're going to set it up, decap some brass, and then weigh the benefits and the cons. So let's get after it. Okay, before we get started setting up the Lee Precision Universal Decapping Die, you're going to notice a change on my rock chucker here. This unit comes from RCBS with this primer catch, and if you've used this press to decap, you will know that at least 75% of your primers are going to fall on the floor with this unit. Also, a large portion of those primers are going to come out the front of your ram here. So what I have installed is a 3D printed unit that has a much closer tolerance to the back of the ram to catch the primers, and then a 3D printed blocking plate here, or blocking sleeve, that keeps the primers from coming out the front. So I'm going to drop a quick video or a quick screen grab of that product that I got from Amazon and where you can find it. And I will say that it's about 99% effective with catching the primers and putting them down the plastic tube there. So for this illustration, we're going to just decap some 9mm brass here that I have in my bin. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to use a number 16 RCBS shell holder. We're going to raise the ram slightly and put our shell holder in place. And then we're going to take our Universal Decapping Die from Lee, and we're going to thread it in a little bit, raise our ram, and then we're just going to bottom it out on the top of the shell holder. And I just want to note, I really kind of like these Lee locking nuts. They got an O-ring there, and you could probably just get away with snugging up by hand, but I'm going to use a crescent wrench here and just snug it up. That's all I'm going to do. So now let's run some 9mm brass and show you how everything works. So we're going to run some 9mm through the decapping die here. So we're going to place it in the shell holder, raise our ram. I store those in a separate bin there, and they're going to be ready for my wet tumbling process after we're done. And they're going to be ready to load. And this is something typically that one of my kids do. They really enjoy it, and it keeps them occupied. And when I'm down here reloading again, they just absorb everything that's going on. Kids are great that way. So, you know, my intent is to keep them busy and asking questions. So I'm going to show you what it looks like coming out the back side of this primer catch here, in case any of you guys have any questions about that. So for you guys curious about the primer catch, Here's a couple rounds. It's been used a lot, so maybe you can see those primers falling down in there. But I'll kind of get you an idea of what the setup looks like. You may be able to hear those dropping into a container down there. So I kind of have some backwoods engineering going on, and I'll show you that what I'm collecting the primers in, and then when I'm ready to recycle or dispose of them, they're not all over the floor. So for you guys to take a look here, I have an old blue dot container that I had exhausted all the powder out of it. So I have it zip tied to the angle iron on my reloading bench. And then I've ran the tube provided in the kit that I showed you earlier into the cap, and I collect all my primers right there, and it keeps them out of the way. It doesn't affect how I use the bench, and I can either recycle them or dispose of them appropriately. So there's a look at the Lee Precision Decapping Die, the Universal Decapping Die. And with anything in reloading, on your presses and stuff, and I'll make a suggestion here. Any press you buy, if there is a spare parts kit available, I know Dylan has them for their 550, square deal B, 650, 750. Get those spare parts kits, because there's nothing more frustrating than when you get into a run and you break a spring or a pin or anything like that, and then you got to wait a couple days on one to come in. Get those parts when you get your press, so you have them on hand. The same thing with the Lee Precision Universal Decapping Die. Get some spare decapping pins. And I found a website, it's called squirreldaddy.com. They sell decapping die pins, not just for Lee, but for other manufacturers. And I think I got a 3-pack for like $8.95. And it's just peace of mind. And in fact, the original pin that come with it, my kids have ran so many rounds through it, whether it be 223, 556, 9mm, 10, and so on, that they caught a Burdan primer and bent the pin. So I had to replace the pin, and luckily I had spare pins available. So pick those up. Check out squirreldaddy.com and Lee Precision on the Universal Decapping Die. It's a great way to introduce your kids or someone new to reloading, and you get the added benefit, especially if your kids are doing it. You get to, when you wet tumble or dry tumble, you're going to get those primer pockets extra clean, and that's always a plus. And then you're not at risk of damaging the pins on your expensive sizing dies, and it makes your press run super smooth when you're not decapping. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around. So until next time, don't forget to check us out on Ohio Reloading Connection on Facebook. Check us out at Squatch Reloading on Facebook. All these videos are being uploaded on Utah Gun Exchange. So that's ugetube.com, gunstreamer.com, and of course here on YouTube. So until next time, God bless.